You did put on clean underwear today, didn't you, Al?
For a show that built its empire on pushing buttons, mocking suburbia, and never, not once taken itself too seriously, Married with Children seemed untouchable. It thrived on bad taste. It made middle America gasp. It became the anti-family sitcom for a generation that was sick of perfect dads, perfect moms, and perfect kids delivering perfect life lessons in 22 minutes. And yet even legends stumble. For Married with Children, one episode stands out not just as a dud, but as the rare case where the show lost its edge entirely. Clunky jokes, awkward pacing, baffling creative choices that ignored everything fans loved. An episode so off-key it was literally buried for years. To understand why this one landed with such a thud, you have to remember what made the show's high points so good. The Bundy Blueprint. When Married with Children debuted on Fox in 1987, TV comedy was still living under the long shadow of The Cosby Show, Family Ties, and Growing Pains. Primetime families were clean, warm, and carefully written to avoid offending anyone. Then along came the Bundys. Ed O'Neill's Al Bundy was the perfect counterpunch to TV's idealized dad. A man whose peak in life had come and gone on a high school football field in 1966, now trapped selling women's shoes to customers who hated him almost as much as he hated them.
Little ruler says I've been a 7 since I graduated from high school.
Well, these are 7s.
Katie Seagal's Peggy was his total opposite. Lazy, flamboyant, obsessed with shopping and TV, and completely uninterested in the domestic chores sitcom moms were built on. Their kids were just as exaggerated. Christina Applegate's Kelly, the lovable but spectacularly dim blonde, and David Faustino's Bud, the short, overconfident schemer convinced he was a gift to women. The beauty of Married with Children was that it never pretended to be more than it was. The show embraced its meanness. It turned bitterness into a rhythm. Even when the humor was outrageous, it was consistent. The tone never drifted into cheap moral lessons or clumsy sentimentality. So when the writers developed an episode that betrayed that tone, fans noticed immediately. The Lost Episode. The episode was called I'll See You in Court. It was filmed for season 3, scheduled to air in February 1989, and then pulled by Fox executives before it hit the airwaves. On paper, the setup looked like it could work in the Bundy universe. Al and Peggy, along with their neighbors Marcy and Steve Rhodes, find out that a sleazy motel they each stayed at had hidden cameras in the rooms. The tapes? Of course, they're recordings of each couple's private activities. Outraged, they decide to sue.
Peggy, if you scare him like this, he'll never come out.
Look, Al, I want sex. Do you want to be conscious or not?
In theory, this could have been classic Married with Children, a satire of American litigiousness mixed with the show's trademark sexual tension and neighborly one-upmanship. In practice, it was a mess. Where it all went wrong. The first problem was tone. Married with Children had always been cheeky about sex, but here the humor was less cheeky and more icky. The audience wasn't in on the joke so much as trapped in the room with it. Instead of cutting away at just the right moment, letting the laugh come from the implication, the writing lingered on uncomfortable setups that made it feel like the show was trying too hard to be naughty. Then there were the jokes themselves, or rather the lack of them. The series was famous for its rapid-fire insults and perfectly timed comebacks. Here the punchlines were limp. Jokes stretched too long, scenes stalled. It was like the script was waiting for the laugh track to show up and save it.
Whatever the Bundys were doing, our conjugal privacy was invaded. Yes, we were violated by video cameras.
And then came the characters. One of the Bundy strengths was that no matter how bad things got, they were still the Bundys. Al's bitterness was offset by his bizarre pride. Peggy's laziness by her odd loyalty. Kelly's cluelessness by her confidence. Bud's scheming by his pathetic charm. And I'll See You in Court, those qualities flattened. Al wasn't just interested in intimacy, he came off as mean-spirited in a way that killed the humor. Peggy's sass dulled. Marcy and Steve, usually pitch-perfect foils, became caricatures, overacting beats that didn't need exaggerating. Finally, the ending landed with a thud. The couples lose the case, the motel tapes are destroyed, and that's it. No twist, no ironic reversal, just a deflated fade-out. Married with Children was capable of turning a non-ending into a punchline, but here, it was just lifeless. Buried for a decade. Fox claimed the episode was too controversial for broadcast. That label became catnip for fans. Remember, this was years before you could instantly Google a banned scene. In the pre-internet age, if you heard about a lost Married with Children episode, you assumed it had to be outrageous, maybe even legendary. But there's a difference between banned because you pushed a boundary and buried because you laid an egg. I'll See You in Court fell into that second category.
And then they tape us having sex.
When it finally resurfaced in 2002 on the cable network FX, the mystique evaporated in about 22 minutes. Fans who had spent over a decade imagining some wild, uncensored Bundy classic got a painfully average story with below-average execution. Message boards and early fan websites lit up with the same verdict. That's it? Fans weren't mad at the content, they were mad at the quality. Married with Children had aired plenty of controversial episodes before this one, and fans loved them. Her Cups Runneth Over, where Al and Steve go on a mission to replace Peggy's favorite bra, caused an actual letter-writing campaign from offended viewers. You Better Shop Around took the family's misadventures into the absurd world of supermarket sweepstakes and became a fan favorite. Even the camping show, where a family fishing trip spirals into a cold weather nightmare, managed to be both crude and clever.
I wonder what the poor people are doing.
The difference? Those episodes were funny. They had bite. They gave you one-liners you could quote for weeks. I'll See You in Court didn't just lack bite, it lacked teeth entirely. Fans weren't clutching pearls over the motel tape plotline. They were frustrated that the episode had no rhythm, no wit, no reason to exist beyond its premise. The Critic's take. When critics finally got to review the episode during its cable debut, they were underwhelmed. Some called it a case study in wasted potential. Others pointed out that the episode exposed a recurring weakness in Married with Children. When the writers leaned too hard on sexual innuendo without a solid comedic backbone, the whole thing fell apart.
You did put on clean underwear today, didn't you, Al?
Even more telling was the cast's reaction, or lack thereof. In interviews over the years, Ed O'Neill and Katie Segal have been quick to reminisce about outrageous scripts and edgy moments they loved filming. This episode almost never comes up, and when it does, it's usually in passing with little enthusiasm. For a show that thrived on owning its controversies, the silence was deafening. Why this episode matters in TV history. I'll See You in Court isn't remembered for being outrageous. It's remembered for showing that Married with Children, for all its fearless swagger, wasn't invincible. It proved a few things about comedy, especially the edgy kind. Outrage without cleverness falls flat. The Bundys could get away with anything as long as it was funny. Without the punchlines, the shock just feels cheap.
For the Bundys, no sex, no money.
Tone is everything. The best episodes balance their meanness with just enough charm or absurdity to keep it light. Lose that, and the whole formula collapses. Mystique can't save mediocrity. Fans will forgive a lot in their favorite shows, but if you hype something for years and it's just fine, they won't forgive that. Even trailblazers have off nights. 11 seasons of TV will have highs and lows. This just happened to be a low that the network tried to hide. The strange legacy of a bad episode. Ironically, the worst Married with Children episode does serve a purpose, just not the one anyone intended. For longtime fans, it's a reminder of what made the other episodes work so well. The rhythm, the insult timing, the balance between crude and clever, all of that is missing here, and its absence makes the show's strength that much clearer. For TV historians, it's a small but telling example of how banned doesn't always mean dangerous. Sometimes it just means not worth airing.
And the end.
And for anyone still curious enough to watch it today, I'll See You in Court is a kind of time capsule. Not Married with Children at its best, but of the moment when even the kings of crude comedy swung for the fences and missed.